Welcome to Our Energy Matters with Anthony Manna and Dena Marie. Aloha.
Aloha to you too. Here we are. Episode number 66. To people who don't know what we mean, we've been meeting for, I guess, maybe not consecutively, because I think there were a couple of weeks where we were distracted, but 66 episodes based on Dena Marie's book, which I will introduce in just a little bit with those delicious crystals on the front. They're not edible though, so be careful. And but they could be, couldn't they? Wouldn't that be interesting? What a nice thing that would be to make them edible.
Well, what I say is choose one like you're going to eat it like candy. So you're spot on.
Yeah, got it. So what I do is I work through in my discoveries and my healing, my own self-healing, really, in many ways through her book, because it is a book about healing and it's a book about coming to the truth of yourself. And then what I do each week is I write a little piece related to my discoveries. This is episode number 66. And I say to our Somali listeners and viewers, Salam Kelekum. Greetings to our Somali listeners and viewers. And today it's Wise Words Empower Revisited, because it's a continuation of our previous last week, as I step alone beyond the threshold that opens the way to the uplifting spin on energy's dynamism in Dena Marie's trustworthy and enchanting book, Our Energy Matters, The Art of Crystal Reading. And that she doesn't stop there, by the way. I love this. Third title, How to Manifest Your Heartfelt Intentions. I am alerted to the ever-widening reach of energy lore, propositions, invitations, and bidding infused throughout Dena Marie's training manual of celestial wonder and soul-searching empowered counsel. As a skilled spiritual mentor, Dena Marie guides seekers like me and the clients with whom she doles out chakra doses, and energized, crystallized currents, awakening both seekers and clients to heart, mind, soul, spirit, and body awareness, where lay the sparkleized vitality of cures, reawakening seekers and clients to their purified self-respect, approbation, and yes, love light and loving kindness. Love light. I think I'd like to take some of these and put them in a book called Love Light.
Always, I always say love and light. You know that.
Yeah,
love and
light. Yeah. Always in the spiritually illuminated pages of her book, she attends to anointed shards of spark-ignited revelations gathered into glimmering miracles of mystical teachings, maxims, musings, ruminations, and synchronicities, confirmed in blessed quotations reflecting expressions of be here now appreciation of life's wonderment and honored self-recollections. And in the process of all that, there's a kind of playfulness to have people move out of their darkness, and because I don't want to make it always sound like Pollyanna, I mean, people come to you and they're bewildered sometimes and they're hurting. I say, Dena Marie, allow me to repeat a clarion call I sent to you in a previous gathering. Actually, please put on the mantle of the sanctified role of a skilled celestial mentor and illuminate our listeners and viewers with your response to wise words from your book and beyond that reveal your passionate belief in drinking from the wellspring of the energy of open-heartedness, touched by joyful mind, to ride the rising tide of enlightened soul search. That was probably the longest sentence in the history of the Guinness Book of World Records. Anyway, from your book a certain type of self-synchronicity. You say, quote, seeing relationships as learning experiences is so empowering. That is one of the reasons we are here, to develop and evolve through our relationships. And so now I'm going to say, comment on that, because I know when I first read that, I thought, oh, so that's what it's about.
That's what the meaning of life is. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. But it's irrelevant to what we were just always talking about before we do this. Is it's easy to be in my little cottage and hang out and do my thing. It's a lot harder to go out into the world and relate, right? Relationships. We have kids, we have partners. And so I've got really comfortably, not maybe numb, but comfortable, super comfortable with this armor. And I'm with nature, and now I'm with animals. That's pretty easy. It's super easy. So it's important that we, like I'm doing recently, is getting out and how do you say it? Relationshiping, getting out there and sitting with someone who maybe doesn't want to eat what I want to eat, coming to some compromise, being with my kids when they're under pressure because things have speeded up. They're not calling me as much, right? Or they're not hanging out with me. So I don't get, woe is me, poor Dena. And then just call them, just be the bigger person, because this relationship is important, and you grow together.
Yeah, that's so important. And it just seems, and we were talking about this in our phone conversation prior to this meeting, that I recently met up with a friend for lunch, and it was so good to break away from this isolation that I feel, because I mean, whatever time I have, in a sense, above all the responsibilities, I spend a lot of time in isolation creating stories. And so to get out there a little bit, right, and to hear other stories, to kind of crystallize a relationship that we hadn't seen each other in quite a while, is so uplifting, and it's that idea of looking up, to the blessing that there is. Here's a reflection I wrote while reveling in your stories of crystal reading and healing, which will always fascinate me. And this is me speaking. You are the worthy one, the color of all you need to be here and now and forever. Alleluia. Alleluia. Live your colors of blessed kindness, welcomed love, burnished delight in your holy presence. Alleluia. Alleluia. So I say to you, do you agree with that's a terrible way to put that, but anyway, my grasp of what I believe to be an existentialism of self-acceptance that I find all the way through your book?
Well, I think it's funny, we're both wearing purple, and that's the third eye, and it's perception. So I could perceive my kids are too busy and they don't care about me, or I can perceive my kids are busy, I should reach out to them and just say, I love you. The perception. So that third eye, and you were talking last week about the news, and this week was a rough week. There was like eclipse, there was a full moon, there was so much. I think people, and I saw it, had a kind of a meltdown, but they didn't understand the energy. So that was a really good, I went and did sunsets even more this week. I slept a little bit more than normal. I had to really practice being positive, which was, I picked up a good book again. I started reading something to lift my spirits, So this third eye, it's the way we see things, and we can change our perception. So spirit sometimes has me lay on the ground. And if you lay on the ground, you start seeing the clouds. You might see the sun, you see the blue sky. And it's just a nice exercise to change the way you look at things. And I don't know if that answered your question, but I was just thinking how things are changing and people are getting quicker and faster. And it may hurt our feelings if someone's not present or there with us. So don't take it to heart.
Perfect. Yeah. No, I think that I think also the quotation that I offered you just now, I think it's also the idea of being honest and truthful to yourself, and whether that means that you're identifying something, your shame, your anger, whatever, but also your loving kindness, and that you have that side as well that you can offer people. And I loved when you said that your kids aren't responding to you as frequently as they used to be, and that's the way I felt about my own son. He's so busy creating a business that he's just he calls it. He says I'm insanely busy, and I go, I hope not insane. I mean, you can be busy, but you don't have to be insane, And so
he drank coffee from the day before because he was so busy, and I was hoping it had cream in it.
Yeah.
It was black coffee.
Yeah, it was black coffee, and it was the day before. He said I was so rushed that I had to drink, and he'll kill me if he finds out that I said this in a public forum. But no, I don't. I mean, he knows that I love him, and I wrote the next day. I wrote to him and I said, "Oh, by the way, I offer you a fresh cup of coffee."
That's okay. That's humor. Isn't that the best way to come at things? We have to find, and the only way you get humor is when you open your heart and your throat chakra, and it comes from a higher place, because the lower chakras are emotions, mosh pit of emotions, fear, guilt. Woe is me. And we have to find that thing so that when we communicate to the people we love, our relationships, it's more, and we do this, like we'll have a little conversation and then it gets kind of, these are the things that are going on. And then we end it like this.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be.
Yeah. And I think where we need to be also is just, I use the word revel, and I'd say, reveling in the beauty that surrounds us, the good people that surround us. You know what I mean? If I keep my mind wondering about all of that and riding the crest of that energy, whatever chakra that may be, is for me a dose.
I'm prescription, and you said doses. You have another one you say too, but anyways, I forget it. Remedies. But yeah, and it's just finding something, because each chakra, I have lots of prescriptions or doses or remedies, and I'm walking dogs. I can't tell you how blessed I am. Spirit has put me in a position where when it's pouring down rain, I get on my coat and I put a little harness on this beautiful lab, and we go walking in the beautiful woods.
Yeah.
We had a horrible storm. It was like we had to go a different way, and he's so sweet, and I'm hugging him when I take his harness off, and they look at you with their eyes. It's so chakra for your heart. And when people are lonely, animals, right, they can save their lives. And so it's been super. Like the other day where I was watching a dog, and we had to walk to the beach.
Yeah.
I hate to walk to the beach.
That's so cool. And I noticed I was talking to Don about this the other day when we came to a parking lot, and there was a dog was left in the car, and someone ran into the bank or something. And I know it wasn't going to be like they were going to abandon the dog, but the dog was there, and I could just see. I watched this dog it was like a terrier, and I watched him or her because she let's say she kept looking out the window like, where the hell are you? Get back here. How dare you? And then she would look over at us, and then she would go back. Like she was so anxious, to get that love back in her life. I just loved it. Here's a quotation that that I'm going to offer you from a Zen Buddhist master by the name of Norman Fisher. And I just love his work, and I read about his books about compassion. And he transported me to stories of healing you, Dena Marie, as a divinely inspired alchemist described in your book, when you conjure the solemn alchemy of crystal reading, fathoming the crystal colors chosen by your seekers, your wanderers, your nomads yearning for enlightenment. And Fisher says, I'm going to quote him right now, to practice strong determination is to intentionally stay connected to our higher goals, and to remind us that we truly are spiritual practitioners. We are heroes. We can make effort. We can do what needs to be done to live a noble life.
And that's what, really, this is what it's all about, is like we say in the morning, counting our blessings, setting our intentions, and being the best person we can possibly be. And sometimes you do have to put on the Pollyanna, fake it till you make it. sometimes you're going to have to, like I had to pick up a good book, or I had to spend more time in nature this week, which was great. But the prescriptions, right? To be noble is like, you think about a beautiful tree and the roots and the trunk and the heart of the tree keeps it from falling over. We had a huge storm. We had so many trees fall over and everyone's out of electricity for a week. But that trunk and those roots are super important. So that's your connection to, I say, the earth. And you and I both have a relationship with Mother Earth. And that's really, I believe, your mom. But to be noble, I always think of the tree and how strong it is. And each year it loses its leaves and then it blossoms again. So letting go, going with the flow.
Yeah.
Walking around naked in wintertime.
Yeah,
and celebrating spring again.
Right. And then, I mean, yes, to go out there and just watch the wonder of those trees. And I mean, because they just got finished shedding their leaves. And now I feel like they're going to sleep for a while, and they need a rest, because look at the beauty that they gave us throughout the summer. I mean, it's astounding. And
we better pay attention, because people are going too fast. Each time of year I say, you need to rest. And this is when people start buying stuff, spending money, spending too much time outside of their house, doing way too much. And they do start to, I call it Chernobyl.
Yeah.
We have to watch the reconnection to the seasons, which this is time to read a good book. It's time to maybe put your pajamas on earlier and make some soup, but do not go to the mall.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the season, we're into November, and already it's like Santa's coming next week, and this type of thing. And I'm thinking, Santa, can you cool it this year and maybe like stay up there in the North Pole until maybe like December the 20th, so we don't have to go into commercial addiction.
January 20th.
Yeah. Let's cool it this year, but anyway, all right. So as we come to the end, I say it is time to end. So and I say angelic guardian. That's why I gave you that title. Now I just christened you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts as a way of teaching. Sharing, teaching, healing are vital energies throughout the treasure of your book. So if you want to move closer to Dena Marie's wisdom, then listen to her weekly radio show, Lift Your Spirits. If you go to her website, dena-marie.com, you'll find information about how to connect to that radio show. It's very enlivening. I mean, take a look at it sometime. It's very accessible. She's also very active on Facebook with Daily Chakra Insight, and she talked a lot about the recent lunar eclipse. Didn't you? Yeah, you had that on your page there, and I enjoy. I was thinking of gathering them, some of your expressions of hope and healing in your Facebook pages, because they also need to be shared with a wider audience. You'll also find startling photographs of the island she inhabits on the West Coast, and a lot of prayerful advice about self-care. My website for an interview with Dena Marie is on Anthony Manna, that's M-A-N-N-A, anthonymannabooks.com. If you go to my website, you'll go to the Podbean podcasts interviews. In the media section, you'll find an interview with Dena Marie, and you'll find an interview with authors, illustrators, poets, etc., because my website is about literature for little tiny kids, tweens, teens, and new adults. And so we end session 66 on a very, very positive, upbeat way. And I it's just wonderful to have these moments of just sharing, our journey. And thank you so much.
It always lifts my spirits, Anthony Manna. Aloha.
Thank you. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.